Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blank. And Tyler, we are in the house for a special series and with a very special guest.
All facts, Brad. So we are launching into our series on the great one, the People's Champ, The Rock. It's WrestleMania season, so we had to bring on a big-time guest for this big-time series. We got DC Hendrix here. DC is a writer for, I even have the list here. This man has so many credentials. This brother is doing his thing. A writer for Fansided. He's also a writer for Just Baseball. We also have Old Fort Baseball Company, bodyslam.net. DC is out here. DC, welcome to GI. We're going to talk The Rock. How are you feeling?
Doing real good. I got to live up to the hype now, man. You hype me up coming on. I mean, it's simple. Baseball and wrestling in my world. So I'm here and I'm excited. We're talking about one of the greatest of all time. So it's a pleasure to be with you, fellas. You got a great show. So it's my pleasure to be with you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, brother. We appreciate you. And you do great work, man. You deserve all the flowers and then some. Like we said, 4-part series for The Rock. So we are starting with promos. Fellas, this is probably, at least for me and thinking about my relationship with The Rock's career, this is what I identify to him most. The matches are good. He has some historic ones. We'll get into that later this week. But the promos, the mic skills. DC, you're our special guest. We want to pass it to you all the way in Indiana.
Oh,
which promos, well, 2-part question, I guess, to kick us off. Which promos stand out to you most during The Rock's career? And what are your overall thoughts on him as just one of the best on the mic in the history of wrestling?
Yeah, so I guess we got to start off with now, right? Let's not even, before we can go back in history, let's talk about his promos now. So admittedly, when he first came back, because I grew up in the Attitude Era, so I knew about, obviously his feuds and coming up as, the highlight of The Rock's career, right? Compared to a lot of people that are seeing The Rock for the first time now, right? So a lot of people didn't grow up watching the Attitude Era. So when he first came back recently, the promos for me at least weren't hitting like they used to. It took a minute for me to, I'm like, this ain't The Rock. This don't feel like The Rock. So for a while I was like, either The Rock was always corny or it's just not hitting for me anymore. So I ended up, obviously, he shut me up this past Friday night on SmackDown. He shut me up real quick. I think I even said that. I think I did, because I do Monday Night Raw post show every Monday night for Body Slam, and we were talking a little bit about The Rock and his promos, and I'm like,
shout out to Amanda in DC, dynamic
Amanda
duo.
Savage, that's right, my co-partner. Yeah, we were talking a little bit about it, and I'm like, I don't know, I haven't been feeling his promos. It hasn't been hitting. And then Friday he comes out to start SmackDown, completely shut me up, shut everyone up, and showed once again why he was the greatest to ever touch that microphone. I know a lot of credit goes to John Cena and, guys Roman Reigns is starting to get up there. Cody Rhodes is starting to get up there. But all time, it's The Rock. And there's a reason why he gets this big blow up every time he comes back. So before we can even go to the past, definitely got to talk about that. But at least for me, one of the main promos that comes, I got 2 promos that come to my mind immediately from past. So number 1 is destroying Billy Gunn, right? So the reason I bring this up, and I'm trying to remember how long ago it was, but
it's maybe 98 on my list. DC, I have a Sunday Night Heat promo. I got a little bit of Raw from 98, some DX, some Rocky. You were talking, around that time frame, maybe.
Yeah, around there, about 98, 99-ish, and he comes out, man, and this literally started, it doesn't matter what your name is, and literally, in hindsight, ruined Billy Gunn's career in WWE. It never was the same since that segment happened. He was like, but my name's Billy. It doesn't matter what your name is.
After he won the King of the Ring.
Yes, right after that.
Yes.
It didn't. Yes, that's when it was.
Did you guys use that in school or with your family at all? Because I have vivid memories of my dad and I going back and forth with, hey, what do you want to eat for dinner tonight? It doesn't matter what you want to eat for dinner. It's my choice.
Legendary. That's
legendary, right?
That's number 1. It was after he won King of the Ring. So right around that time. And then number 2, I got to go with Hollywood Rock, his promo with Hulk Hogan. Completely schooled Hogan in that promo. He was not even paying attention to anything Hogan's saying. He was like, talking in the like, talking to his producers, acting like he's not even interested. He's like, "Can you just fast forward to the part where you're like, "Rrr," like for me, he just completely clowned one of the greatest of all time. So to me, those two promos, you can add in the one with the hurricane. I know a lot of people bring that one up. Great. So those are the main ones that come to my mind. I don't know about you fellas.
Oh man, it's yes. The Billy Gunn one, I think it was the first time he did the "It Doesn't Matter." So it's the one that kicked off that being a thing. We absolutely used to do that. I grew up in the Attitude Era as well. I'm 41, so I got that perfect timing. Our basketball team would come out to the DX theme, and it was awesome. It was a great time to grow up. But all of the Rock's promos, man, calling Kevin Kelly an ugly hermaphrodite. Not a great look, but absolutely hilarious now. Like, look at the time. No, it's like Val Venus, The Godfather. None of that. None of that. You do that on TV now, and it's never being aired again. It's shutting down fast. Die Rocky Die as a promo. The initial turn when he came back from injury, joined the Nation of Domination. Absolutely iconic. But for me, my personal favorite one was the Hell in a Cell promo. It was all of the impressions. It was the Rikishi impression, the Undertaker when he comes up cross-eyed and just wobbles, doing "I did it for The Rock. I did it for the people." It's like, looking back now, it's like, okay, this man, they're family, but also this is hilarious. This is so good. Absolutely incredible. To your point, DC, I think the promos now are incredible. Forget the in-ring stuff. It's the stuff he's getting in trouble for online, allegedly, that people aren't happy backstage and at TKO and at the network that he's dropping F-bombs on this PG thing. And it's amazing. We're getting like maximum unfiltered, uncensored, pure Rock on these internet promos. And I'm absolutely here for it. It might be his best work he's ever done. And it's on X and it's on Instagram, and it's incredible.
Yeah, it's unanimous, guys, in that regard. I'm thinking back to the recent promos that we've seen. To your point, DC, the ones on SmackDown, but then to Brad's point, the ones that The Rock is filming himself and putting on social media. I'm just wondering now, if we were getting Roman versus The Rock, which by all intents and purposes seemed to be the planned main event for Mania this year, would we have gotten this brilliance that we're seeing? I don't know. I kind of think this worked out well for WWE. I think they pivoted at the right time in the right way, because heel Rock has, to your point, DC, I think not only reinvigorated him on screen, but the fans, like, how can you not, even if you're booing The Rock, you low-key appreciate what he's doing. I was in the house for SmackDown in Glendale, Arizona a few weeks ago, and he was getting booed, but he was also getting cheered. He called us out of our name. He called us cactus-loving crackheads, and the crowd cheered. And I was looking around, and people were like, they were booing, but they were also, he kind of turned us. Like, we were booing, but then he insulted us, and then we cheered for him. It takes a certain skill set to be able to do that. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen. That was my first time seeing The Rock live, and it exceeded my expectations. He's
nobody can do what The Rock does in terms of going from heel to babyface as quick and easy and seamless as he can.
In one promo.
In one promo. Like, literally. We've seen that this past Friday. It's like, he comes out and he's, heel Hollywood Rock all over again. And then the crowd starts cheering him. So he's like, all right, well, I'm a babyface this week. So this is home. So I'm babyface. It's like, no one else can do that, man. That's why he is the greatest to ever do it. I would debate that with anyone.
Yeah. Well, if we can follow up on DC's point there, my final question for you guys: what is it about Rock that makes him so special, that makes him one of, if not the GOAT? DC, you mentioned his ability to shift and kind of, react to the crowd and play off the crowd. Brad, what do you think it is, given your theater background as a performer? What is it about Rocky that makes him so tremendous?
Crowd connection. It's the only thing that works. He just knows how to connect with the audience. It's that simple. Why? Combination of charisma, combination of committing to that role and to that bit. If you just fully commit to something, Tyler, you're an educator. You know this. If you are invested in that thing that you're doing, people are going to buy into that if you are invested and they believe you. And you can make that connection just simply by believing in that thing you're saying, even if you know it's ridiculous, even if he's not like these cactus loving crackheads, because he seems like he's probably not thinking that way in real life. But at that moment, he's that character and he's committed to that thinking. So he's believing what he says, and then we have to believe it. And we both cheer for things that we believe in and also boo things that insult us. Some people have that connection. Christian Cage has an ability to connect with an audience in a way that he can make them boo. The Rock can do whatever he wants out there. And I think that's the difference between him and everybody else, is he can make them feel however he wants by simply turning it up a little bit over here or adding this thing over there. And then suddenly you have this larger than life. We don't even care that you're a bad guy. We love it that you're a bad guy. This was the most attitude era feeling that I've had watching SmackDown, because that's what the attitude era was, when everybody was confused why Stone Cold was being cheered for being an absolute jerk. He was a classic villain, and he was getting huge reactions from people. The Rock is just that good. He can just turn people any which way and do whatever he wants out there. It's pretty remarkable to watch. He's one of one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to add to that, I mean, everything you said, in addition to that too, like, it's not even just because like everyone just says, "Oh, it's on the mic. He's the best. He's the greatest on the mic." And just like Brad was saying, like he connects with the crowd not only on the mic but in the ring.
Yeah,
right. He tells stories in the ring,
yes, in
addition to the microphone, and that to me is what sets him apart, because it's both, right? Like we have all these guys that are like great wrestlers but don't have the biggest personality and aren't the greatest on the microphone, where The Rock is literally the greatest at the microphone and also is one of the best in the ring. So like you have to give him both credit in that. And also in addition to that, adapting, right? Like Brad mentioned adapting and going with the flow and being able to adapt. And a perfect example of that, you guys talked about it before we kind of got started here with this promos. Growing up in the Attitude Era, there was no social media. There was nothing like that. But The Rock, obviously being this Hollywood phenom and history maker, he's able to utilize social media, which obviously, as we know, is as big as it's ever been today. He even uses that as another platform in addition to what we see on SmackDown, and uses that to tell stories and uses that for promos. And there's not a lot of people that do that these days. We see the after show, highlights that we see, like the backstage stuff on the WWE account, but we don't see a lot of superstars on their own account doing promos like The Rock. And like, to me, that's just, again, he's just so far ahead and just sets the bar in terms of a WWE superstar.
Totally agree with you. And I love that to your point. I wanted to add this real quick. His reactions in the ring, he didn't have to do like the fire up when he was getting beaten up. He'd hit a spine buster, stand up, and just look at the crowd. And the crowd knew exactly what that meant. That is just we knew what time it was. His big fire up was do nothing. Just look forward, maybe pop an eyebrow up, but really just stare into the hard cam the whole time. Take off the elbow pad, staring into the hard cam. That he just stared into the hard cam. He did something that like typically you're not supposed to do. And it was amazing. It was amazing.
To quickly compare it. So like what I tell my friends when we're watching, I'm like, man, when The Rock does that, it's like almost equivalent. And, people will probably be like, whoa, like when I first say this. But to me, I compare it to Michael Jackson when he comes out for a concert and he takes those glasses off.
Yeah, it's a great shot.
It's equivalent to that. Like you don't even got to do anything. Like know what time it is. As soon as The Rock stares at that camera, you know what's going on. So it's to that level, man.
That's perfect. That was a great comp, guys. This was such a blast. Again, 4-part series. You just heard or saw our discussion on The Rock and his greatest promos. Tomorrow we'll get into feuds. Part 3 or day 3, we will discuss the greatest moments of The Rock's career, and then our finale, part 4. DC Brad and I will talk about The Rock in Hollywood, his movie and television career. You don't want to miss out. We thank you so much for joining us, and tune in tomorrow for part 2 feuds. See you then.